The problems we have in extracting a meaning or a lesson from the Rime of the Ancient Mariner can help us to conclude on how the poem has exerted such a power over the imaginations of generations of readers. The force of the poem lies largely in its uncertainty, rather than what it tells us clearly. To substantiate that point, I want to bring in some theorists of uncertainty, both recent ones and older ones who were known to Coleridge. The first of these is Edmund Burke, 18th century theorist of the Sublime and the Beautiful. In this work, Burke writes, for example, of how vast natural objects have the power to make the spectator feel tiny and insignificant. Mystery is also vital to achieving this effect, an effect which Burke terms the sublime. It is, obviously I hope, a significant theory for the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, a poem in which so much is unexplained as we readers see it, and yet so much seems frightening. Burke says, and I quote, "To make anything very terrible, obscurity seems in general to be necessary. When we know the full extent of any danger, when we can accustom our eyes to it, a great deal of the apprehension vanishes." A great deal in the Rime of the Ancient Mariner is obscure to us. There are unseen spirits with unknown motives. There are inexplicable events. And we are told very little about the world of the poem. No character is given a proper name. There are no place names. In fact, in the universe of this poem, very little is familiar to us as readers. All of these vagaries provoke the reader. We see half-formed shapes, and we try to imagine what they could be. Objects of natural terror in the Rime of the Ancient Mariner include the snowy cliffs and the ice mast high. And later in the poem, an explicit connection is made between these natural objects and the spirit world. The spirit impelling the ship is connected repeatedly to the land of mist and snow. Arguably, then, the mariner's crime is one of ignorance, of not perceiving the divinity of the life around him, which includes scenery, unseen spirits, and animals like birds. All of these, even in Coleridge's thinking inanimate objects, shared an existence which Coleridge and Wordsworth theorized as the one life. Everything was alive. Everything had the right to live. The mariner's crime is terrifying because the nature of it is not understood by the wrongdoer. He is baffled as much as he is terrified. My point in bringing in Burke was to demonstrate the significance of obscurity, and what Burke says is consistent with later theory, such as, for example, the important 20th century thinker Wolfgang Iser, who formulated what he referred to as reader response theory. Iser says that indeterminacy mobilizes the reader's imagination. He's saying something very similar to Burke that is true of the Ancient Mariner. We see a mystery and our minds attempt to solve it, to complete it. Obscure texts, mysterious ones, engage us to an extent that appliance manuals and literal texts do not. When you read later texts of the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, you'll see that Coleridge has added something by way of explanation in the commentary alongside the verse, which we refer to as the marginal gloss, which seems to explain what's going on. But there is a catch. It does not seem to be in Coleridge's voice, but seems to be antiquated or old language in the voice of a medieval scholar. And you might not agree with the evaluations that this gloss commentary makes of what's going on in the poem. So Coleridge deepens the mystery, perhaps, rather than clearing things up. Coleridge doesn't solve the mystery for us, and it may be that he himself couldn't do it.